In the heart of feudal Japan, amidst mist-covered mountains and whispering bamboo forests, there stood a renowned martial arts dojo known as the Temple of the Rising Sun. Within its hallowed halls, disciples from across the land sought enlightenment in the ways of combat. Among them was Takeshi, a young prodigy, whose skill with the blade was matched only by his arrogance. From a young age, Takeshi had been groomed for greatness. His father, a samurai of esteemed lineage, had spared no expense in his son's training, determined to see him become the greatest swordsman in all of Japan. But with privilege came pride, and Takeshi grew to believe himself invincible, his every victory feeding his ego. One fateful day, rumors spread throughout the dojo of a wandering Zen master known simply as Sensei Haru. Whispers spoke of his legendary prowess in both martial arts and Zen philosophy, his very presence commanding reverence and respect. Takeshi, ever hungry for challenge, saw an opportunity to prove his superiority. With arrogance burning bright in his heart, Takeshi approached the Zen master and issued a challenge, demanding a duel to test his skills against the enigmatic Sensei Haru. Unfazed by the young warrior's bravado, Sensei Haru accepted, but on one condition: the duel would take place not on the battlefield, but in the quiet confines of the temple's tea room. Confident in his abilities, Takeshi agreed, eager to demonstrate his prowess. As the appointed hour arrived, the dojo gathered in anticipation, the air thick with tension. Takeshi entered the tea room, his katana gleaming at his side, while Sensei Haru sat calmly before a simple wooden table, a teapot and 2 empty cups resting upon it. With a flourish, Takeshi drew his blade, ready to strike. But before he could make a move, Sensei Haru gestured towards the empty cups. "Before we duel, let us share a cup of tea," he said softly. Confused by the Zen master's words, Takeshi hesitated, but ultimately complied, taking a seat opposite Sensei Haru. With practiced hands, the Zen master poured tea into Takeshi's cup, filling it to the brim, then continued pouring until the tea overflowed and spilled onto the table. "Why do you continue to pour when the cup is already full?" Takeshi demanded, his patience wearing thin. Sensei Haru smiled knowingly. "Like this cup, your mind is full of preconceptions and arrogance. There is no room for growth or learning." Enraged by the Zen master's words, Takeshi leapt to his feet, drawing his sword in a swift motion. But before he could strike, Sensei Haru's hand shot out, catching the blade effortlessly in his grasp. "Violence begets violence," he said calmly, his eyes piercing into Takeshi's soul. "True strength lies not in the sword, but in the mind." With a flick of his wrist, Sensei Haru disarmed Takeshi, leaving him defenseless and humbled before the assembled witnesses. In that moment, Takeshi realized the depth of his folly, his pride shattered like glass. As the days passed, Takeshi remained at the temple, humbling himself before Sensei Haru and embracing the teachings of Zen. Through meditation and reflection, he learned to empty his cup, letting go of his ego and embracing humility. In time, Takeshi's once fiery spirit was tempered into something stronger and more resilient. No longer driven by arrogance, he found a deeper purpose in the art of the sword, using his skills to protect the innocent and uphold justice. Years later, when whispers of his past arrogance reached the ears of a new generation of disciples, Takeshi simply smiled, knowing that true strength came not from the sword, but from the empty cup of the mind. And in that realization, he found his greatest victory of all.